Let me share with you a story that took quite an unexpected turn. For almost 2 decades, my wife and I have been living together, raising our daughter, managing our mortgage and shared loan. Our lives were intertwined, bound by the sacred vows of marriage and our joint responsibilities. Gardening became our shared passion, providing us solace and joy. My wife, in particular, had a talent for preparing delicious preserves for the winter. One hot summer day, our neighbor Arkasha visited us for a chat over tea. Arkasha and I had always shared a good relationship, often lending each other tools and offering a helping hand. Unfortunately, he had recently experienced a devastating misfortune. His wife had left him, taking their children away. He was clearly suffering and in distress. As caring neighbors and fellow dacha dwellers, we did our best to support him. On that specific day, we found ourselves sitting together, enjoying the cucumbers we had preserved from the previous year. Arkasha turned to my wife, Alexina Grigorievna, and praised her preparations. He marveled at the perfect balance of flavors, the tangy yet not overly sour taste of her concoctions, and the exquisite blend of spices that enhanced the natural flavors. My wife blushed with delight and humbly admitted that it was her mother's recipe with no secret ingredient. Surprisingly, Arkasha's face darkened before our eyes, and all his enthusiasm disappeared. Despondently, he confided in us, sharing that he had jars but lacked the knowledge and skill to preserve his bountiful harvest. "Though I have a recipe, I'm unable to do it myself," he said. Without hesitation, I suggested that my wife accompany him to his house and assist him. It seemed like a simple act of kindness at the time, and I felt a sense of blissful satisfaction for being such generous individuals. Later that day, finding myself in need of oil for my chain belt, I decided to approach Arkasha once again. I knocked on his door, but as soon as it opened, I made a terrible realization. I had walked in without waiting for an invitation inside. As I look back on that moment, I often wish I had waited before opening the door. Among the jars, cucumber basins, tomatoes, and brine, I saw my dear neighbor and beloved wife, but they weren't just casually chatting. No, I had stumbled upon them during an intimate moment. Anger rushed through me, and without thinking, I grabbed a bucket of tomatoes and headed towards them. He had the audacity to try and defend himself. The scene must have been quite a spectacle, with 2 neighboring women rushing over to see what all the commotion was about. Everyone in our close-knit community knows each other well. One woman was middle-aged, unmarried, and the other in her 50s with a husband and children. So there I was, in the middle of a fight with this jerk, my wife standing to the side, crying, and probably concocting a plausible story. Then these 2 women joined in, shouting, throwing themselves at me as if they were defending their beloved neighbor. They both yelled something along the lines of, "Don't touch my sweetheart." But when they realized that this jerk seemed to be their mutual sweetheart, and the fight was over him being sweet on my Alia too, their stance quickly changed, and they joined my side. Eventually, the neighbor fled from us, making a dramatic escape right into the nearby forest, through the center of the village. It was quite a sight to see him sprinting away like a Sega. In that moment, instead of crying as I should have, I laughed. It turned out he had a whole village full of admirers, all under the impression that he was a lonely sufferer who didn't bother anyone or have any particular preferences. I don't know if he shared his tales of the harvest with everyone or just with me, but all our women were surprisingly understanding. After that incident, we never saw him again. He sold his cottage along with his prized tomatoes, the ones he cared about so much. Our women would exchange suspicious glances, recognizing each other as competitors, but I couldn't comprehend or forgive my wife's betrayal. Dear friends, thank you for listening to our stories. Subscribe to the channel, put likes, and leave your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to press the bell not to miss new stories, which we try to publish every day. We also remind you that everyone can share unique stories from their life or the lives of friends, which can be sent to us by email. which is specified in the description of the video. Good luck to everyone and be happy!